Living in truth. Congratulations. If you followed this guide, you already are experiencing a better life. Your old life is ending, and a new one is beginning, and with it, new challenges and new satisfactions. Now you will learn what it is to live in truth. You will learn about the joys and challenges of a true seeker and what you can expect of yourself and others as you continue to change. You will learn how to find your passions and how to set and achieve your goals. You will be given a new vision for relationships, and you will learn how to communicate with a win-win objective. Once you have given yourself a truth, something in you changes forever. To keep your truths vital, you will have to re-remember and re-feel your truths many times. You will have to rediscover what you already know and repeat the same insights. Each time you do, your transformation will be more complete. You may find yourself following your same old self-defeating patterns. This doesn't mean that you've not learned or that you've not grown. You have. However, it's normal to repeat your old mistakes. You must go through the process of rediscovering yourself over and over. Self-transformation is a lifelong process. Do not feel resentful, embarrassed, or ashamed about this. You are human, and this is how we humans learn. You must re-experience the things that transform you many times before you can live them automatically and with ease. Each time you rediscover a truth or insight, you will incorporate it a little more deeply, a little more completely. To live in truth is to take full responsibility for your life and well-being. When you live in truth, you are free. You are no longer a victim. You are a victor. You no longer waste time and energy complaining and wishing things could be better. You take positive action where you can and accept the realities you cannot change. You do not allow your fears and prejudices to immobilize you or cause you to act inappropriately. You take responsibility when you're wrong and attempt to correct your mistakes. You accept praise without arrogance when it's due. You live life fully, with all its ups and downs. Living in truth is being fully alive. Living in truth is risking and loving. The more empowered you become, the more you will be challenged. The changes you are making in your life will challenge everything in your life. Your changing view of yourself will challenge your view of everything, your values, your relationships, how and what you communicate, and how you want to live. Living in truth isn't easy. What was once acceptable to you may no longer be acceptable. This can be a time that is exciting, frightening, and confusing as you redefine yourself, your relationships, and your life. Some decisions may be very difficult to make. You may no longer be content with your career, a primary relationship, or an unhealthy condition. You may no longer be willing to turn a blind eye toward an injustice or ask yourself to take a stand for something that will make you unpopular. As you change, the kinds of challenges you encounter will also change. The more you mature, the more demanding your challenges will become, and the more satisfying your sense of accomplishment will be as you meet those challenges. I've been told that ignorance is bliss, that the less you know, the less responsibility you have to take, the easier life will be. Ignorance, at best, is a temporary, false bliss which creates unhealthy suffering. The pain you experience from unhealthy suffering is always in vain. It is the pain you feel when you avoid taking responsibility for your own actions. Unhealthy suffering causes you to want to numb yourself. You don't have a choice as to whether you will suffer in life, but you do have a choice as to which kind of suffering you will experience. When you choose to live in truth, you choose healthy suffering. As healthy suffering is the discomfort that results from doing something difficult for a higher purpose, you will feel a deep satisfaction when you have sacrificed yourself for something of virtue. It is a satisfaction far greater than any sensory pleasure or instant gratification can give you. There is a perversity in some that causes them to fear empowered people, discourage excellence, and undermine wonderful possibilities. The clearer you become in your thinking, the more you live in truth, the more opposition you will experience from such people. You will find that there are those who will be angry at you, who will criticize and blame you just because you're striving to improve yourself. Your living in truth is a threat to them. Don't allow such people to undermine you. By taking a stand, you strengthen your own character and show them what is virtuous. It is natural to have periods of accelerated growth followed by periods of rest. After the intense effort required for personal growth, we reach a plateau, a time to absorb what we have learned and to recuperate. You may feel emotionally fatigued and crave a much-earned vacation from processing. Take it. You need time to assimilate what you've processed. During plateau periods, the subconscious mind continues to sort and digest all of what you're learning and the changes you're making. The plateau periods are as important to achieving your goals as are the intense processing periods. After a time, once again you will feel the need to address your personal growth issues. Changes in your feelings or falling back into old self-defeating patterns are clues that you need to re-enter a processing period. Follow the clues your intuition, emotions, and body give you. When you're in pain, you're much more likely to seek a resolution to a problem than when you're not in pain. Rest when it's time to rest. Process and learn when it's time to process and learn. Early in the development of the processes, I held guest events for workshop graduates so they could invite friends and family members to share in their experience. At these events, guests often approached me to express their appreciation and admiration at what appeared to them to be a wonderful program. Frequently, they would also say, "I've already done this work myself." I could see that they were ego attached to their work and thought that they were done. Some people regard their efforts at transforming themselves as they would a limited project. They think that now that they've done some self-examination and personal growth work, they're done and can go on to other projects. The surprise is that you are not only not done, but you are never done. You will have the opportunity to grow to your last breath and beyond. Make a lifetime commitment to your growth. Regard it as an adventure. Every time you do a pillow hit, dialogue with your inner child, claim a truth, or do any of the processes, you are growing. Adopt the attitude that the more you know, the more you want to know. It's good to feel proud of yourself for your hard work. A truth is hard-earned, and it is reasonable to take a rest after concentrated effort. It's easy, however, to think that now that you've done the work, you don't have to make the effort anymore. It's easy to become ego-attached to your accomplishments, to think that your efforts yesterday excuse you from working today. This is dangerous thinking. The minute you attach ego importance to what you've accomplished, you lose the humility and the impetus that enabled you to transform yourself in the first place. You may end up giving lip service to something that you once felt in your mind, body, and spirit, but now only intellectualize. Many times, while sharing what I believe to be sound advice with a client, or writing this guide, or in the middle of giving a lecture, I have thought to myself, I hope you're listening. This is good advice. All of what I know has not yet become wisdom. I must not think too much of my accomplishments. I must repeatedly relearn truth before it is fully in my mind, body, and spirit. Once it is there, I know it will become wisdom. One of your greatest initial challenges will be your truths. They will continually remind you when you are acting as though you are not worthy, loved, safe, innocent, loving, or powerful. Many times you will experience knowing when you're living an old lie. You will forget your truths and what you learned, even though they may be profound and even life-saving. This amnesia is normal. It happens to all of us. It is important for you to know this about yourself. Too many people feel shame at slipping back into old self-defeating patterns. They judge themselves and think, I should know this. What's wrong with me? Don't shame yourself. Accept that you will have amnesia and relearn what you must. Learning occurs as a result of repetition. You will need to relearn what you've already learned. This means that you'll have to claim the same truths again, repeat the same messages to your inner child, express the same emotions, have the same insights, and reprocess the same high-impact moments. You will sink back into your old self-defeating patterns. They may not be as intense or as frequent, but they will return to some degree. You will have moments of clarity which will fade, and then you will need to go through the same processes you originally went through to regain the clarity once again. And you will wonder how you could ever forget what's so important to remember. You will have done what is human. Don't allow this to deter you. You have learned. Repetition helps you deepen your learning. Do the processes again until you feel your transformation become a part of your mind, body, and spirit. Each time you relearn something, it goes a little deeper and stays a little longer. Clarity comes in stages. Even though you think you're clear about something, you probably can be even more clear. Repetition abolishes amnesia and deepens clarity. Each of us lives in truth in varying degrees. Although you're never done, every effort you exert, large or small, furthers your growth. Even though you may slip, nothing you have done or understood is lost. You have planted seeds, some of which will rebloom with even greater endurance, some of which need time to grow. It was inspiring to watch Terry transform himself. He worked harder than anyone else in the workshop, taking emotional risks, humbling himself, and opening his heart. He approached each process with warrior spirit, enrolling other group members to do the same. After 2 weeks of heart and gut-wrenching self-examination and processing, Terry claimed the truth, I am innocent. He entered a state of bliss that was so profound that everyone cried tears of joy for him. Terry's love moved us deeply. We knew Terry was a transformed man. After the workshop, Terry continued to inspire us with his clear thinking and kind and courageous acts. Everywhere he went, he taught by example. Gradually, however, Terry began to slip, but instead of returning to the work of self-examination, he intellectually embraced what he knew. Terry began to hold group meetings where he shared his insights with friends and anyone who would listen. What was once sincere, heartfelt wisdom turned to lip service. Terry returned to many of his self-defeating patterns, justifying and rationalizing his behavior. He was not yet able to walk the talk. Terry thought, I already claimed my truth. I shouldn't have to claim it again. Rather than suffer the embarrassment of not being finished and continuing to process, he fell back into his old self-defeating patterns. Some people who were initially fired by his enthusiasm felt Terry's insincerity and backed away. Others, impressed by his words, placed him on a pedestal and became dependent on him. Secretly, Terry felt disappointed and ashamed that he no longer felt or lived his truth. Although none of what Terry had learned was really lost, his refusal to remain humble and continue with his self-examination thwarted his immediate continued growth. Had Terry accepted that amnesia is normal and that growing is a lifetime commitment, he would have returned to his processing. Make processing a part of your life. Dialogue with your inner child. Do the regression process. Update your life event line. Do the pillow hit, the tantrum, the cry, and talking to the people of your past. Whenever you feel stuck, are experiencing undue stress, or are overly depressed, anxious, or angry. Dialoguing with your inner child is a process that can be invaluable to you on a daily basis throughout your life. Dialoguing provides a special way to nurture yourself. Every night before you drift off to sleep, you can hold yourself and say, I love you. I will always be here for you. You can ask your inner child how he feels and respond to any hurt or concerns of the day. Dialoguing with your inner child is also a powerful way of keeping connected with your feelings. You can do variations on the processes, inventing creative ways to express yourself. You may have periods when you process every day, once a week or once a month. As you grow, you may find that you've reached a point where you process less frequently, doing an occasional pillow hit or tantrum. Here are some examples of how some people have processed. Jan comes home after a frustrating day at work. Instead of having a drink, she puts on soft music and talks to and holds her inner child. In a few minutes, she feels calm and refreshed. Gary has an argument with his brother which leaves him feeling outraged. He imagines that his brother is sitting in front of him and he expresses his anger. He follows this with a pillow hit. Later, he is able to constructively problem solve with his brother. Tina feels overly sad about watching a movie. In the theater parking lot, while still feeling her emotions, she closes her eyes and, using her sadness as a springboard, she regresses back to an early childhood event. She then dialogues with her inner child. In this way, Tina helps herself resolve an old childhood hurt. George feels anxious about giving a talk to his local service club. He dialogues with his inner child and discovers that his inner child feels unworthy. George gives himself the truth, I am powerful. Later, George delivers his talk with greater confidence and ease. Shirley discovers that her brother is currently involved in a crime that the rest of the family has been ignoring to keep the peace. Shirley does the cry, the tantrum, dialogues with her brother without him being present, dialogues with her great loving wise self, and claims the truth, I am worthy. She then confronts her brother, who refuses to take any responsible action. At the risk of family rejection, she reports her brother to the authorities. In this way, Shirley builds her character and self-confidence. Discovering your true spiritual nature is best when it raises spontaneously within you as a result of processing, giving yourself a truth, or healthy suffering. Then you will experience it as a joyful fountain of love and an exquisite peace, a knowingness that surpasses words. Spirituality often comes as a welcome and unexpected visitor knocking on the door of your consciousness. You no longer need proof of a loving higher power. You are experiencing it directly. All of us are spiritual beings, capable of greatness. Anyone who sincerely does his personal growth work recognizes his spiritual nature and is transformed by it. Processing can spontaneously give you the experience of the great loving wise one, God within you. People who say they don't believe in a higher power, who deny a loving God, who regard creation as an accident, and who will see all experience through an intellectual construct, are in awe when they discover that within them is this indescribable love and knowingness. I keep photographs of workshop events. One of the most moving photos of all is of myself and a client at a workshop graduation. He was a man in his late 30s who was suffering from terminal lung cancer. In the photo, he's holding flowers that a friend had given him. He was still glowing from having claimed his truth, I am safe, and his face and eyes held a look of beautiful compassion and love. Just looking at the photo is a moving experience for me. The remarkable thing about this man was his spiritual transformation. He had been an engineer who viewed everything from a logical point of view. All he believed required irrefutable, tangible proof. When I first met him, he stated that he was an atheist. Since I rely on the processes to inspire my clients, I never attempt to save or enlighten anyone as to their spiritual nature. I simply accepted his statement. I knew that if he did the personal growth work he said he was willing to do, that he would discover his spiritual nature himself. He knew that he was dying. He had cancer for many years and had already far outlived his life expectancy. His goal in entering psychotherapy was not to extend his life, but to quell the emptiness he chronically felt. I believed this emptiness was the result of his denial of his spiritual nature. He was a sensitive man, and his disease had lowered his emotional defenses such that he could no longer deny his emotional pain. He died within a year of his participation of the workshop. When I learned of his death, I was told by a friend that was close to him that he had died peacefully, feeling God's love. He had told his friend that he had found God when he claimed his truth. From that moment, his emptiness had left him, and he knew that he was safe, loved, loving, and worthy. This intelligent man of logic had transcended his logic and found his spiritual nature. As your true spiritual nature arises from your personal growth work, so does your awareness of service to others. Giving is receiving. Strike a balance between giving to yourself and giving to others. Those whose lives embrace giving to others are the happiest people on this planet. If you don't already have it, develop a sincere desire to give to others. Whether you are a professional or work at a minimum skill job, you have the opportunity to give. Be generous with your attention to others' needs. The smallest thing you do can make a huge difference in another person's life. When you listen to another person, really listen. When you do something for another, do it with love. It's better that you do a small thing with love than a big thing without love. Repeated small acts of love add up and give you an enormous sense of fulfillment. You will receive in your heart a far greater gift than you can imagine. A major cause of distress in human beings is the denial of their passions, a denial of what they love. Other people's plans for you as a child may have caused you to push your passions away. You must rediscover your passions and follow them. By this I mean you must follow what your heart loves. Your talents and tastes are clues to what you love. You can't live in truth if you're not doing what your heart dictates. Follow your passions, whatever they may be. If you love music, then music must be in your life. If you love animals, animals must be in your life. If you love to design, you must design. Find a way to make a living using your passions, or see if you can find a way to integrate your passions into your existing career. The following will show you how to identify and take action on your passions. Be creative. Begin by daydreaming. Allow your heart to rule your imagination. Be a child again with no limitations that your adult, analytical mind might impose upon you. Forget your age, sex, education, state of health, talents, appearance, and fears. See yourself as a limitless being capable of anything. Every time you hear your inner voice saying, "You can't do that," let it go and keep open to new possibilities. Ask your inner child what he loves. Since the child within you has had less time to practice fear and limitation, he will help direct you to your true passions. Spend time in this imaginary state. Use your imagination until you feel inspired by your thoughts and feelings and have a sense of direction. Always ask the great loving wise one to guide you. Remember, you do have the answers to all of your questions. Trust yourself and listen only to your deepest knowingness. Others have their own fears and limitations that they might unconsciously impose upon you. Listen to what your great loving wise one tells you. Practice discipline, focus, and warrior spirit. Picture the future as you want to see it. Set goals based on your passions. Define the steps necessary to reach your goals. Write down these steps. Getting it down on paper helps to crystallize your thoughts and identify snags or unwise decisions. It also deepens your commitment to this positive change you are making in your life. Clarity of the vision and a step-by-step plan is essential to success. Ask yourself if what you're planning is wise. Examine the eventual outcome of your planned actions. Will your actions bring about worthy results? What personal price will you have to pay to have this in your life? Is it a price worth paying? Is your desire to have this based on ego gratification, or does it come from a higher place within you? Ask the great loving wise one to help you answer these questions. You have an outrageously creative mind that wants to have fun, express itself, and share with others. Just because it seems no one ever thought of it before doesn't mean it won't work. Work with your plan. Persevere until it makes sense, has integrity of motive, and works within the limitations of time and the material world and the limitations of your imagination. Balance inspiration with common sense. Do the work of planning with a song in your heart. If you can't find a song in your heart, something is missing from your plan. Be 100% committed to your plan. Here are questions to ask yourself that will help you clarify your commitment. How much do I really want this? Am I willing to do the work required? Am I willing to weather the anxiety that comes with change? Am I willing to have my life be changed as a result of my actions? If this plan fails, am I willing to see it as a learning experience necessary for my growth and begin again? Am I willing to take responsibility for my creation? Take action. Follow your plan and make your goals a reality. Consider a vision for all your relationships. Clarify what you want your relationships to be like. Create a vision in your mind and embrace it. Draw from it daily. Though you may not always be able to fully achieve the vision, your intention to achieve it will draw you toward it. Remember, what you believe creates your experience. Consider the following vision for your relationships. I see all my relationships as harmonious, even the ones that are stressful. I find a way to find peace within myself and strive to bring peace to my relationships. I desire that all my relationships be win-win, and that we be enhanced, supported, and inspired by each other. I choose to be the one to reach out to others. I won't allow others' temperaments, blamings, or judgments to deter me. I will share with them my vision and ask them what they want. I will encourage them to share my vision for our relationship. I will ask for forgiveness when I have made a mistake, and I will forgive. I won't live in judgment toward others for their past mistakes. I will keep the door of new possibilities open so they can grow in my presence. I will always take time to be polite and kind. For example, if someone wants to talk and I'm busy, I will not speak in a hard or hurried voice. I will explain my situation and ask if there's another time soon to talk. I will process my fear, anger, shame, and hurt by using the tools in this guide. I will not direct blame or harm toward myself or others. I will process my negative thoughts and feelings privately, taking full responsibility for a peaceful outcome. I will ask for permission to discuss difficult things. I will be the first to listen. Then I will share my needs and desires. I will not deter from facing problems. I will address them with others, always telling them of my vision in advance. For example, I might say, I'd like to talk more about this problem. Before we do, I want to tell you how important you are to me. I want you to win here too. I will always keep open to possibilities for positive change in my relationships. I will express my desire for others to be open to positive possibilities also. I choose not to communicate with negative ideas. I won't complain about things, though I will address problems. I choose not to burden others with tales of my discomfort, whether physically, emotionally, or mentally. When someone refuses to share my vision, rejects me, is indifferent to me, or condemns me, I will continue to hold my vision for the relationship. I do not withhold love or attack. I choose to be proactive, not reactive. If someone is verbally abusing me or treating me disrespectfully, I will tell them that I know they don't want to hurt me, but that they are. I will ask them to stop the negative behavior and start doing something else. For example, I may ask them to support me instead. I will then ask them if they're willing to do that. If not, I will set boundaries. The boundaries may be as simple as shortened conversations or may require leaving the relationship. I will not use boundaries as a punishment. I will strive to see and understand the wounded child within others. I will always hold my thoughts and heart open to the healing of the wounded child within each of us. I see all relationships as a vehicle of love. I see the hidden joy of love within everyone. I remember that all anyone wants from me is my love, no matter how well hidden this desire. I treat others as I would like to be treated. Win-win communication. Most of us are not taught healthy ways to communicate during childhood. Since your well-being is greatly influenced by your relationship with others, it's important that you learn win-win communication skills as an adult. Win-win communication is based on the commitment to meet the needs of all concerned. In order to achieve win-win communication results, you must first enroll yourself to do it. This means you must be willing to act upon the highest in yourself. Set aside any attitudes that may undermine positive results, and resist your human urge to be right, look good, or teach a lesson. The processes in this guide have already helped prepare you to win-win communicate. However, if at first you think win-win communication is too challenging, consider re-examining your beliefs and attitudes about yourself, others, and the nature of reality. You may find some attitudes you want to change. Although win-win communication requires some attitude adjustment, it is one of the most empowering skills you will ever learn. The following are attitudes and skills designed to address difficult people and situations. Try them in a situation you think is a lost cause. At least 70% of lost causes can be turned around by using these skills. After rehearsing them in your mind, try them at your next opportunity. Most people are amazed at the results and find it's the best and only way to approach their relationships. Come from a win-win attitude where your number one priority is love, respect, and that everyone win. Be clear on what you want. Take responsibility for your own happiness and well-being. Be prepared to take a stand for yourself. Accept that this may be difficult and might bring about some big changes in your life. Begin your communication by stating your highest intention and ask if your listener has the same intention. If this is a personal relationship, you might acknowledge your discomfort to your co-communicator. Let them know that this is difficult for you. Express all you communicate in a positive light. Mention the benefits of cooperation. Allow your co-communicator to have their say first. Let them have a sense of winning. Don't disagree when your co-communicator is having their say. Just listen. Actively listen during and after they have had their say. Repeat to them the essence of what they said. Ask if your perception is correct. Be aware of good timing. Be patient. Know you will have your say when the time is right. All you've done up to this point will help prepare your co-communicator to be open to new possibilities. You are in the process of enrolling them to speak with you in a win-win manner. Repeat as many times as is necessary your highest intentions for the both of you until you see that they get it. If they still want to communicate in a win-lose manner, ask them what their intention is. Say, I want both of us to win here. What do you want? Wait for their answer. If they avoid answering, ask them again until they do. You may need to ask them 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe more times. If their answer indicates that they also want both of you to win, you've succeeded in enrolling them. If not, this may be one of the 30% of lost causes that won't work immediately. For win-win communication to work, both parties must be enrolled. State what you want. Be specific. State your boundaries. Be willing to enforce them. Now begins the problem-solving stage. Be patient. Problem solve with an open mind. Think in terms of possibilities. Be persistent. Don't stop until both of you have won. Insist that your boundaries and needs be met. Help your co-communicator meet his or her needs and boundaries. Conclude by repeating what both of you have agreed upon. Ask that both of you acknowledge the agreement. I have shared with you what's in my heart. It's also in my heart that you live fully and joyfully. As we move into our futures, we each will continue to meet challenges. Life can be a terrible and a wonderful thing, and for me, many things remain a mystery. The teachings and processes in this guide have served me well. I will continue to use and develop them as I continue to grow. Oftentimes, our lives are changed for the better by making the simple decision to be committed to and follow virtuous ideals. Pattern your life after ideals that expand your imagination, your generosity, your character, and your love. You will be rewarded. Say, although I'm afraid, I persevere with determination. Although I know others may criticize me, I do the right thing. Although I know I may end up alone, I act with integrity. Although people are selfish, I am generous. Although any good I do may be disregarded, I still do good. Although others may envy me, I strive to live my dream. Although being honest makes me vulnerable, I remain honest. Although I think I can't know something, I still seek the answer. Although I may look foolish, I admit my mistakes. Although I have been hurt, I keep an open heart.